Hello, everybody. Drew here for Drew That Underground. Back. It's that time of year again.
Mhm.
Joining me, my younger brother, Desert Nord. Hey, bro.
Hey there.
And yeah, it's that time of year again. It's January. But not just any January day. You know what day it is, right?
Yeah.
And we're taking the day back by recognizing the best in underground entertainment. This is the Underground Entertainment Stream for 2023.
Yep.
How entertaining was 2023 for you, bro, from an entertainment standpoint?
Wow. Uh, Once again, it was a year full of, uh, I don't know, some cool things. Obviously, some high points, some good movies here and there. Um,
Yeah, I
uh,
didn't see many of the movies. I've only seen two that came out in 2023, and I have them both on Blu-ray. So there's only two nominees for that category.
yeah. Um,
Uh, unless you've seen a couple that can be nominated for it.
well, I mean, again, there were several, but um, as far as additional, we already sorted out what we were gonna, sort out in regards to
Do, and I have
all
all the
that.
tabs open and ready to present to you guys for the
But
winners of every
But
category.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a landmark year in filmmaking if, as far as filmmaking goes.
I would consider a landmark year in watching Hollywood burn, but that's a whole nother
Yeah,
debate
no, it
in
was
and of
really
itself.
like one of the most cratery of crater years for uh that aspect of entertainment.
And
Um
I would say 2023, and I'm with someone who we're going to talk about in a little bit on this stream because he's nominated and will win a couple of awards here. But I agree with one fine gentleman with 2023 being, what's the best way to describe it? A shit show to a point, but
I would just
both.
say that it boils down to Hollywood, Disney, and well, Marvel, for instance, getting pretty much what they deserve.
But also the year of people waking the fuck up.
Yeah, a bit of that. Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Because I have a T-shirt. I'm not wearing it right now, but I have a
It
T-shirt that says "Awake, Not Woke." Get get coffee with values.
The way I see it, 2023 is a plausible turning point where you could say, okay, maybe certain aspects of the industry are finally getting it and finally saying, okay, that doesn't work. We need to try something different. We need to go, back to the way we used to do things. Um,
And
and not preach to the customer, but actually, satisfy what they're looking for. There's a little bit of that going on now that there definitely was none of if you go back to the previous 4 years, call it even 5 years.
yeah, and Lucasfilm and Disney doubling down on the woke Star Wars shit with their new director for the Rey
Yes,
Skywalker
yeah,
trilogy.
they're hardcore dedicated to destroying themselves.
Yeah,
I mean, there is no fucks
and,
given over there at Disney.
and I saw a video from Liberal Hive Mind recently talking about how Star Wars died in 2023. Well, I'm sorry, Liberal Hive Mind, but you're like 10 fucking years late to that.
Yeah, yeah. No, my let's go back to 2016, shall we?
Yeah, The
Uh,
Last Jedi ring a bell?
yeah, no, like that was
No,
that was
no.
the spear through the heart of Star
Now,
Wars.
now, I'm not speaking ill of Liberal Hive Mind. I respect and admire the guy, and I love him and his channel. But
I mean, here's the thing: the only thing we've had since that complete 180-degree turn away from something interesting, which is what Star Wars was up to that point.
yeah,
After that, all we've had is a bunch of like beating around the edges, beating around the bush, some might even say. And like maybe you could say parts of Ahsoka are interesting, or parts of Bad Batch were good, or you might say, oh, I like The Mandalorian or whatever. But none of that even comes close to the level that Star Wars was at going into 2016.
The only thing from Disney Star Wars that I would say, okay, let's see where this is going, was season 1 of The Mandalorian, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then season 2, I'm like,
And
so much for that.
I mean, and just the fact that things like Rogue One are like high points in the post Last Jedi world or Star Wars world,
And
it
even
just shows you how far it's fallen.
except for Rogue One, even has a self-insert in the lead for Kathleen Kennedy,
Yeah, I know.
just like the sequel trilogy does with Rey.
Yeah, no, and
And
then
pretty
now,
much everything
yeah, and
Star
then,
Wars, any female lead is just a self-insert for KK.
and like you
At that
said,
point.
now they've got this new director who's basically up her own ass about being a female, and
And I think her quote was, "I'm gonna make men uncomfortable."
yeah, no, she went on about it too. It wasn't even just one line of quote. It was like she went on for 5 minutes about how much she enjoys making male audience members uncomfortable and how much she likes to push their buttons and challenge them and wants them to change their minds about how they behave and think and lady,
And
fuck off. That's not
and
what Star Wars is
and
about.
and also, I will add to that this. They're going to say, "Why didn't you come watch my movie?" Well, you told us fucking not to.
No, I
It's
mean really.
your
Well, I mean
fault.
she's one of those really 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 annoying ones
Yeah.
that really really wants you to go it's like she's totally not beneath baiting people. So don't be surprised if what she tries to do with that film is tries to bait men into coming to see it so that it can turn into a scold session in the actual movie. Like expect the women in the movie to be cover to cover, expect there to only be a handful of male characters, expect women to dominate every aspect of the storyline. Expect them to never fail. Expect it to be like Ghostbusters 2016 all over again, only Star Wars this time.
Yeah.
That's what you can expect from her. That's all she knows how to do. That's what she does. And that's what she says she's going to do. So, like, I don't know. Was she going to telegraph it just entirely? Obviously, that's what's going to happen. I don't even know why they think this is a good strategy. This literally didn't work for anyone ever. Like, there's no examples of this working, but yet they're going with it. I don't know.
I think
It's baffling.
I think this is now a good time for me to simply say a bit of a warning to those that are going to watch this after the fact and that will see this on Rumble a few days from now. Yeah, this is obviously has already turned into an unofficial episode of Breaking Rocks already. And we might as well just go with that at this point, considering we haven't done one in like 5 months.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
So we might as well just have Breaking Rocks in between the different awards that we verbally throw.
Yeah, I
out.
mean, considering we hadn't done a video in a while, I mean, we just figured we'd ram jam as much into it as possible, I guess.
Yeah, which means this is going to be a long stream, folks.
Well, yeah,
So
I mean,
speaking of long,
you could kick off talking about the awards if you want to. It's fine.
well, that's why we're here for the
No, I meant you
Entertainment
can.
Awards. Not
I
the
mean, you can
underground
start with the
rants.
first. I mean, you can start with the first category, is what I'm saying. If you want to just go into
Well,
that.
I'm going to start at the bottom of my list and work my way up to what I consider to be the most important one, which is the Content Creator Awards.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, underground entertainment for a reason, folks. Because it's more important for us to recognize each other than fucking Hollywood. But we
or in the case of creators, the influencer crowd. The influencer crowd is the most annoying bunch,
YouTubers,
the most annoying bunch of jerks imaginable.
and independent music, that people that are not signed to a music label.
Yeah, or are not, basically, what shall we say? One of the big 5 record labels, essentially, is what you mean?
Or, I mean, any record label.
Yeah, well, especially that, but yeah.
Because in my experience with record labels, this has been my experience. Playing video games and then getting stuff like blocked in certain countries because certain music is in it. Hey, music industry, go fuck yourself. If you don't want music being played in streams, don't put it in fucking games and movies, assholes. Just saying.
No, they want it. It's all about the money. They want it behind a paywall. They
Yeah.
want every single fucking
Well,
thing behind a paywall and a
would
service
get
payment.
more money out of it by letting such things happen on the internet, like such music being portrayed, than people watching it and go, what song was that? I want to know where that's from. And then they'll go out and buy the album. That'll make the record label money. You're welcome, music industry, but you're too stupid to understand that. Anyway, rant over. Speaking of rants and common sense, our first award tonight, and there are no nominees, there's just a winner, Interviewee of 2023. And what that means, folks, is the most entertaining, logical, and just otherwise joy to be interviewed by somebody. And I got into this discussion at work recently with one of my coworkers, or was it in somebody's live stream chat? I can't remember. It was probably both for all I know at this point. But they were suggesting that Tucker Carlson be the winner for this category, thinking that I meant the person doing the interview. No, I mean the person getting interviewed, people. Because if you want to do the interviewer of the year, yeah, it's Tucker Carlson forever and a day at that point. Right?
Yeah, and it's the thing is, if you're talking about interviewers, there's a handful. There's only really a handful. And I mean, the big three in my mind, the big three lately this year have been Tucker. He's far and away up at the top of that list because every interview he does gets tens of millions of views, tens of millions of reactions and all sorts of comments and crazy stuff. Basically, everything he does turns to gold. All right, we all know that. But then you got guys. That are a little bit down the ladder from there, like Jordan Peterson. He's been doing interviews on his channel and with his his YouTube and his others that basically are the same way, only just not Twitter. He's not using Twitter for that purpose. But he's on Twitter, of course, as is everybody else. And then there's Tim Pool, of course, which is another one I would consider to be like a pillar of interviewer, media, podcast media, I guess you could say.
But you did mention our winner here for Interviewee of the Year just a moment ago, because our Interviewee of the Year for 2023 is, in fact, Jordan Peterson.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what's funny? I mean, like, he's normally a great interviewee, but he also is a great interviewer, as it turns out. It's actually both, but yeah, there's been quite a lot of content.
The man wears multiple hats, like someone else we're going to mention, who is our Artist of the Year. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
But anything else to add about Jordan Peterson that the internet hasn't tried to cancel him for?
Well, I mean, what I can say about it is so the category you were talking about here, it was a content creator, or was it interviewee? I forget.
Interviewee of 2023 is Jordan Peterson.
Sure, I suppose.
Because you were the one who said that we should give it to him, and I didn't argue with you. So
yeah, and it's because it was a very specific one a couple of months ago. That's what that was about. But yeah, he definitely. The fact that he's on a lot of different shows and a lot of different things. I mean, I think that. Can you imagine what the internet would do if Tucker Carlson was like, all right, I'm going to do like a group chat with the top 10, like, like if he had Joe Rogan and Alex Jones and Tim Pool and Jordan Peterson and all in one podcast. Can you imagine what the fuck would happen to the internet?
I got one better to make the internet implode. Tucker Carlson multi-interviewing on a live stream kind of like this. Here, get ready for this idea, folks. Jordan Peterson, Donald Trump, Jim Brewer, the comedian,
Yeah.
and Cat Turd.
Well, sure. And again, that's another one. Catturds had a podcast going also.
If you want to see liberal heads explode like some B-list horror movie, there you go.
Yeah, there's many options out there. It's why, picking categories and things like that is difficult, because it becomes a matter of opinion really quick. And I've been impressed with, because I know that what happened like in 2020 and 2021, Jordan Peterson basically disappeared because of personal issues, right?
Yeah.
And then came back like in late 2022. Arrived back into the public sphere, doing okay at that point. And I personally felt like it was a moment of like, oh, breath of fresh air finally, after all this darkness and hell we were all going through. I felt like it was a really good turning point, like globally, when he came back to media and came back to podcasting and interviewing.
I completely forgot about sharing my screen for this stuff that we're talking about for the awards.
Yeah, because the interviews he does and the interviews he's done received, there's rarely something that he doesn't contribute with every single thing he does. Like almost every piece of media he's put out has some actual gravity, cultural gravity. Or you could even call it gravitas. Some people call it that. But yeah, it's really hard to honestly ignore his body of work, and you really would have to be under a fucking rock to not at least have had some introduction to how good he is at interviewing and how good he is at giving interviews, and
for those that
also
haven't,
his psychology work too.
You can check Desert Nord's meme on his channel featuring Jordan Peterson and Red Skull. Just saying.
Well, yeah. The reason I did that meme was because, for whatever reason, the woke comic book writers, one in particular, decided to I Red Skull to Jordan Peterson, and everybody in the internet was like, "This is fucking ridiculous." And so I just went ahead and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna overdub Red Skull with Jordan Peterson, and it's gonna look stupid, it's gonna look ridiculous," and that's exactly why I did it, because people needed to be shown, hey, it's pretty fucking ridiculous for you to sit there and say, oh yeah, Jordan Peterson is just like Red Skull. Red Skull was a vicious, heartless, thoughtless Nazi. Like, there's no humanizing Red Skull. The fact that character even survived in the comics to where people actually, normally you have to have a villain that works. You have to have a villain that's not like comedically villainous. Like, people laugh about Skeletor, right? Or they laugh about, Dick Dastardly and the Wacky Races. Like, he's just a stupid idiot, basically, who has no chance of success, but he's there to just try his best to trip up the hero, right? And that's how Red Skull is. That's how Red Skull always was. Like, he was never going to win, but he represented something that I guess our parents' generation and previous generations personally considered like the greatest evil on earth, right? But he's cartoonish in that, like if you're gonna say that like that's an evil character, you'd be like, yeah, but it's hilariously evil. You'd be like, no real human being is this way. Not usually, anyway.
As I look at pictures of Jordan Peterson here on the screen,
and then you're gonna have, despite the fact that Red Skull is so clownishly evil, you're gonna then come along and say, "Oh no, Jordan Peterson is just like Red Skull." Like, that's fucking absurd on like 10 different levels.
If he's any Marvel,
but that's what they said.
He has the look, for me, of Tony Stark.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying, though. Like, that's why I made that meme, because this guy dead ass said Jordan Peterson is just like Red Skull.
Yeah.
And I was just, and everybody in the internet was like, "Are you fucking serious right now, dude?"
So some liberal Looney Tune says something stupid, and Enter Desert Nord on his YouTube channel going, "Oh, you mean this?" Click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and it was important to make fun of it because it's not true. And whenever you get someone who takes what they're saying seriously, and when what they're saying is ridiculous, you have to make fun of them. You are required to make fun of a person who takes themselves seriously, who is completely wrong. You must make fun of that person. If you don't make fun of that person and you take that person seriously, or you agree with that person without really basing it on anything other than, oh, he said it, therefore it must be true. It's like, people can be wrong, and boy, that guy sure as fuck was. That guy was way off base with what his comic was insinuating.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why I did that. Because, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Jordan Peterson's perfect. He's never done anything wrong. Of course he has. Nobody's perfect. And nobody's even close to perfect either. But, for what it's worth, he does not deserve to be canceled. He does not deserve to be censored. He does not deserve to be called a Nazi. He does not deserve to be called a hateful person. He's none of those things. That's ridiculous.
But what he does deserve is what he just got from us, the award for interviewee or best interview of 2023.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you, Mr. Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
You are Iron Man in our book. That's all I can say.
I personally do believe that he is one of the more important figures of the century.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if that bears out, because it's only 2024. I mean, it's got like 76 years to go, but but I personally believe he's one of the most important people of the century.
So another smaller category, Twitterer or Xer of the year, whatever you want to call Twitter these days. Twatter of the year, whatever.
Xer. It's just called X now, right?
Yeah. But there are 2 nominees for it.
When we first came up with the category, I thought it was funny we called it Tweeter of the Year. I thought that was funny.
Well, that's what I wrote down. But
yeah.
But I still like Twatter of the year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In spite of who it's going to. But
yeah.
The nominees for this particular award are Cat Turd and the obvious Elon Musk himself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'd be hard.
What's that?
I was going to say, you'd be hard pressed to top Elon because, I mean, he bought the company.
Yeah. But
it doesn't get any more.
Somehow, some way, each and every single day, this man tops Elon Musk on Twitter with what he says.
I mean, as far as political commentators, like specifically all day long political commentary, I mean, he's really Kether's tweets are super high circulation. So, I mean, definitely worthy candidate.
Yeah, so the obvious choice would have been, the owner of the fucking company. But
he went from, here's why it's funny, because Elon went from just being a user to being the owner. I mean, that's you'd be hard pressed to look at anyone and go, oh wow, you went from just being a customer to being the owner.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna kiss anyone's ass, first of all, and secondly, absolutely not Elon's. But I respect what Elon does and what he stands for, which is free speech. Which I'm a free speech absolutist myself.
That is he's not right on everything. Obviously, nobody is, but
one man
I'd
who's
say
more
for me
right
personally,
than Elon is Cat Turd.
For me personally, Elon's like a 60-40 guy. I mean, half disagree, half agree with him most times. So he's far from he's not what I would call idyllic, but for what it's worth, nobody's had a greater impact on Twitter this year than Elon Musk. Like, I don't think anybody has had a greater impact than he has on Twitter.
And the other reason for giving the Twitter of the Year award for 2023 to Cat Turd is Cat Turd for me is the closest thing to Dad being on Twitter.
Yeah, I know. It's because it's pretty much the same age guy, sort of similar sensibilities. Yeah.
Yeah,
Although, man, it's tough to get past that avatar, that cat, man.
with the glasses, yeah.
Yeah, with the glass. I've always loved that. It's
Which,
hilarious.
which is why I love the opening of In the Litter Box with Jules and Cat Turd, because it's the anime version of that cat just taking the glasses off with just one paw finger.
Yeah, which started as a viral vine, but ended up
Yeah,
becoming the avatar of Cat Turd. Yeah.
yeah, which is beautiful. And
Yeah.
and I love this hat. Just the cat with the glasses just flipping you off.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I mean, that's the tact that he's had to take, I mean, because uh, especially right before the takeover by Elon, like you had basically the whole upper board of the company just actively going after people for being wrong thinkers. That's the only reason, really.
Yeah.
Pushing good people off of the site because reasons.
And that's another thing. It never fails. Cat Turd usually gets swatted by fucking weirdos all the time too.
Oh yeah, no, I know that, and that's been
And
a rampant thing.
and most of the time he's not even home for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the most recent ones, he had someone house sitting and watching his dogs and his pets, and the cops showed up with guns drawn on this poor person. So obviously, Cat Turd's gonna have trouble finding pet sitters because of it.
Yeah.
If you're out there swatting someone, here's a little advice: go swat yourself.
Swatters, people who falsely call in threats like that
Yeah,
should be arrested and charged with attempted murder. It's what it should be.
yeah.
Like you are attempting to kill someone.
And you're also wasting taxpayer money at that point too.
Now,
On top
mind
of
you, only if it turns out that it was false, like most of
Yeah.
these are.
it.
If
Yeah,
it turns out, oh, you actually called on a real threat, okay, well then yeah, never mind. But if you call on somebody who is a celebrity that you hate
like Cat Turd.
and they get back finding out you're the one that called, you should be arrested and charged with murder, attempted murder,
Yeah,
because that is what you're trying to do, and that's
Yeah.
what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I have no sympathy for those people falsely calling SWAT, calling police on people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's bullshit.
But on a positive note, God bless you, Tat Turd. God bless you, Jules. And God bless the litter mates in the litter box.
Yeah.
But on that note, any other thoughts on any of that before we move to the Kick Streamer of the Year?
No, yeah, the only thing I would just say is that I really don't think anyone's had a greater impact on Twitter than Elon. So this year. So that's all I have to say about
he's
that.
the owner of the company, so.
But he wasn't though. He didn't start out that way. That whole thing went down this past year.
Yeah. But I still felt more comfortable with giving it to Cat Turd, so.
Yeah, I mean, again,
So there you go.
Yeah.
So on that note, Kick Streamer of the Year. There are no nominees. There's and someone has to be the inaugural winner of this new category, right?
Yeah. I mean, since it's like a startup essentially, I mean, it feels that way anyway. And there's not as much content or traffic as like say others,
So this category was previously in the Drew Dat Game Awards in the first one that we ever did.
Yeah.
And do you remember who was the first? This category was actually originally the Twitch Streamer of the Year.
Yeah.
When we first did that. And do you remember who won that first one?
Well, I thought it was either Star Wars Girl or My Nutty Home or somebody in that category.
No, it was neither one of them. It was this lovely lady, Jade Shadow.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, Jade Shadow. Yeah.
Yeah, she was the Twitch Streamer of the Year when we first did that, and she is also our inaugural Kick Streamer of the Year for 2023. because I guess a runner-up would be Geeks and Gamers, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Kick is like still free real estate in a sense. So
Yeah, and I have no way to stream on it, so you're not going to find me doing it. You're still going to find me on Twitch with all of the boobs that you can find flopping around on there
yeah,
nowadays.
but yeah, that's a topic for a discussion too. Jesus.
Yeah. But on that note, congratulations once again, Mara. You get something from us once again.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add about Mara Jade?
Well, no, I mean it's just that
The content creator,
there's
not the Star Wars
there's a
character.
lot of there's a lot of enterprising, upstart content creators that are, getting on the sort of newfangled sites and sort of making a name, or taking up, some open space for themselves there, wherever you can find viewers, wherever you can find,
Kind of like me with
interest.
Rumble.
Yeah, that's what they talk about niches. You find a niche, you can really blossom, and a lot of good content gets created by people and doesn't get seen a lot. So
Yeah.
you end up with a lot of good content going unnoticed, and that always bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many like undiscovered, unappreciated, like really funny or really really clever work that's done that does not get the traffic that the big ones get, and it's sad. And so it's nice when they, when someone who is good at making content like Jade
Yeah.
gets a chance, to blossom into some new territory.
Yeah. So, also to remind you guys, everyone that we're about to talk about for content creators, please go follow, go subscribe to their channels, go follow them on Twitter as well. And go tell them that you're one of the underdogs who got sent from the underground. In other words,
Yeah, you can tell them Drew Denton Desert sent you. Yeah.
And we'll see if they know who the hell they
yeah.
Who.
Yeah. They know us.
We'll see. Well, some of them will know me. Fewer of them will know you.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But on that note, don't want to hit that button. That'll end the stream. A la Nerdrotic.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Speaking of Nerdrotic, next up is our YouTube streamer of the year. And it is, in fact, our nominees are Geeks and Gamers, Nerdrotic, Phil TMNT, Bear64, and Tom McDonald. Yes, Tom McDonald does do streams talking to his fans all the time on YouTube, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take a swing at who we agreed, if I don't know if you remember or not, but who the YouTube streamer of the year is?
Well,
before I hit the share button here.
My favorite was Tim this past year for sure.
Yeah.
So that would have been my strong favorite.
But our winner is, in fact, this gentleman that I just alluded to, Nerdrotic, for Friday Night Tights.
Yeah, and I mean, it's because Friday Night Tights really has become an institution.
Yeah.
A really good place for a lot of different, geeks and games types to really get known, I guess. Some of them, aren't known initially by the G&G guys. I mean, the G&G audience. And so some of them are getting introduced. And then some come from other, branches of entertainment. And it's really nice that Gary's got this huge gathering every Friday. It really is. It's always nice to see.
It is. So from me personally to you, Gary, thank you so much for the great entertainment over the years, the laughs, to the point where I almost just said my mom, she's your mom too, At least, at least last I checked.
Yeah.
our
Yeah,
our
and
our mom loves watching Friday Night Tights along with us. So
yeah, it's really nice that guys like Gary are keeping the gate, so to speak, because
and
somebody has to.
and Comics Division Quarter Black Garrett, RK Outpost, Jeremy, D-Day Cobra from Geeks and Gamers, Melanie Mack, and everyone that's a special guest on there, and X-Ray
Yeah.
Girl and Chrissy Mayer
Sure.
and
Yeah.
what's his face from Night Watch.
Yeah. Yeah, there's really
Yeah,
there's dozens of people that deserve mention in regards to Friday Night Tights.
absolutely.
But Gary's the
And
lead, so we give
because it
most of
is,
the
yeah,
props to Gary.
yeah. In spite of him accidentally hitting the end stream button, like I almost
Yeah,
did
he's
too.
got the boomer tendencies, but I mean, it's for what it's worth, it's still an amazing gathering of
But we still love you,
funny and
Gary.
smart people.
My what's your favorite moment from Friday Night Tights that you've ever seen? Because Mom and I have the same one.
Mm, well, there's a lot. Uh, there
Because
was,
there's one that leaps out to Mom and I right away when we saw it. Well, we didn't see it live, but we saw the recording of it, and we'll never forget it.
well, I remember the one where they were doing a like a meme, the what do you call the Legion of Memers, where
Hmm.
we're going crazy, and there was this picture that ended up getting made of Gary and I think it was Gary and Az. Like Gary was the like priest at a wedding, or he was the, what do you want to
Yeah,
call it, the
you
church leader at a wedding,
yeah.
and Az was the bride. It was so funny. There was so many moments, though. I
and
mean,
and who was as marrying in this
it,
meme?
it was. I forget. It was one of the. I think it was Ethan or somebody. I forgot who had the other
Because it would have
face
been
on there.
funnier if it had been Jeremy.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know. They like doing all sorts of variations, and God knows the members have gone crazy repeatedly.
But
It's a
speaking of
perennial
best
thing.
moments for Mom and I, it's when the FNT crew was talking about the fall of Hollywood,
Yeah.
and and in the background, Odin's bookcase falls over
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
with all of his movies on it. As I was like, as Hollywood's collapsing, bang, over goes the bookcase. The reason it fell over is because there were people like working on like remodeling their house or something, and he had to have like the bookcase away from the wall. So that's why it was away and tipped over because it was top heavy.
Yeah. Hmm.
But Mom and I also look at it like God approves of the collapse of Hollywood.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure that was a pretty memorable one. Yeah.
That certainly was for us.
I remember one where, well, it's actually happened more than once, but Gary forgot to turn off the stream at the end, and
Yeah.
so people were hearing the post stream chatter of like all the members of the stream.
I probably missed that one.
Yeah, yeah, and there was some funny comments that ended up getting basically saved for all eternity that a couple of the members were like, kind of pissed at Gary about. And it was actually pretty good.
I think the
And he had this moment like, "Oh crap, wait, we're still on," and then he clicked off.
I wouldn't call this the best, but another memorable one
Uh,
was when they had what's his face. I don't remember his name, like Gavin something or another on.
you mean McGinnis?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he ended his stint on there when he pulled out his dingaling and started peeing on camera. And
Yeah,
that
that's
was
uh,
and that's when he was done. And I'm like, well, he's never coming back. But
Yeah,
that
yeah,
wasn't the funny part. The funny part was the stream was still monetized.
yeah.
They didn't get taken down. And then ever since, Gary was like, well, I guess it was too small for the YouTube algorithm to pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The aftermath was hilarious, but at the time it was absolutely horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can imagine.
Because I was sitting there watching, I was eating when he did that.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I looked up with shoveling, like, I don't remember what I was eating, but that's irrelevant. I just stuck a bit of food in my mouth, looked up, and there it is out on camera, and he's pissing. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Didn't want to see this today.
But yeah, in any case, Friday Night Tights is it's been usually a pretty interesting one.
Absolutely. So, with that in mind, the Rumbler Award, as in the best Rumble stream of the year. I
Yeah.
don't I don't have a tab for it, so we'll just have to talk about it. Because I don't feel comfortable with playing the pre-recording or the recording of the stream that's up on said Rumble channel. But it's up on the Rumble channel of In the Litterbox with Jules and Cat Turd.
Yeah.
And it is simply called Turd Stock 2023,
Yeah. Yep.
which was hosted by John Rich and Cat Turd, which featured a lot of independent musicians, industry insiders, mostly music writers who can sing and play instruments, that wrote some of your favorite songs throughout the years.
Mhm.
Like, I don't remember his first name, but his last name is Steele. He wrote a few songs for Rascal Flatts. He also wrote one song for Aaron Lewis called Am I the Only One?
Yeah, I remember too, because I mean, but it was a little more country centric. I mean, if you talk about,
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Well,
kind of leaning more towards country music, though. I mean, naturally.
well, it was John Rich, first of all, so
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
surprise.
So it isn't like, it wasn't like across the entire industry. It was kind of more like very, very country music oriented, I would think.
Which is perfectly
Especially,
fine.
yeah, yeah, no, and again, I said it's completely natural at that point. But yeah, I remember that stream particularly, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, Ketter's making waves pretty much everywhere he does content. So
And so is John Rich,
yeah,
whom is nominated for a couple categories too here tonight.
yeah, and then the reason I had previously mentioned Styx was like I think Styx got his Rumble plaque for being I think it was 100K subs on Rumble, so he actually is making some inroads too.
That's good. So yeah, so
yeah.
that's the thing. If you guys haven't watched Turd Stock on Rumble, please do. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. I tweeted it out at the time on Twitter when Mom and I were watching it live, and that was arguably our favorite stream of the year.
Yep.
Regardless of the platform at that point. Anything else you want to add about Turd Stock, John Rich, and anything that happened there?
No, I mean, I do remember it was quite good, and yeah, I mean, especially if we're talking, Rumble. I mean, definitely Cather's making a lot of waves on Rumble. So yeah.
Speaking of making waves on Rumble, you know who else is making waves on Rumble?
Who was that?
The person that I'm going to mention by name and throw her this award for the two of them, Jules.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And In the Litterbox on Rumble is their podcast and the name of the channel on Rumble for Podcast of the Year, which our other nominees were Friday Night Tights, Phil TMNT's Open Mic. What else was there? Bear on the YouTube channel of Bear64, Gaming Den, and also on Twitch which I don't know if she's still doing it or not. Hello Brutiful's Unfiltered Brew as well was also nominated. So congratulations to all the nominees. But in the litter box with Jules and Cat Turd is an obvious political podcast. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But entertaining as hell. And like I said earlier, listening to Cat Turd is like listening to our dad talk about politics. The only difference is Cat Turd isn't saying certain things that Dad was.
Well, you just mean someone his age, basically. Because
yeah.
I mean, that wasn't political. I mean,
Well,
really.
Dad was an independent and hated all politicians.
No, I know, but that's the same thing.
Yeah. But when Dad was talking about like the economy and this, that, and the other, he's like, fuck all of them. They're robbing all of us blind, which as an adult, I know it. I see it too. But
yeah. You won't get the fuck all of them perspective from Cat Turd, though.
No, you won't.
So that's where it's different.
Yeah. Cat Turd is like a version of our dad that's been given catnip. I don't know how else to put it.
Well, anyway, what's the next award, bro?
Okay, so next up after the podcast of the year, Underdog of the Year. Yeah. Our nominees are Phil TMNT, Bear64, Oliver Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
And if it weren't for our winner, it would have been Phil TMNT.
Yeah.
Because our winner came literally out of nowhere this year.
Mm-hmm.
This man, Oliver Anthony.
Yeah.
Working all day.
Yeah.
Time hours for bullshit pay.
Yeah. So
yeah, and
Oliver Anthony for Underdog of the Year, which normally is for YouTubers who don't have 1,000 subs. But come on, man,
Yeah, and so I mean that was only 4.5 months ago. Or call it 5, I guess. And in those 5 months, 4.5, 5 months, whatever. I mean he's absolutely taken, especially the country music world by storm. I mean, he's already performed at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that for your country star.
Yeah.
And yeah, while he hasn't, I really do appreciate Oliver in pretty much every way. Like, his voice is great. His songwriting ability is great. He touches the soul, the core of America. He just touches it with his music. I'm happy for the guy, and I think he's a really well-adjusted peer to my generation, honestly.
Yeah, and another great story that came out of this, he turned down a major contract with the music industry, like $6 million.
Yeah, no, it was gonna be. I mean, it would have been life-changing, but it also would have been selling out. And that's the one thing he said. Look, I'm not here. I'm not here to get rich. I'm not here to shake hands with celebrities. I'm not here to,
do any of that.
I'm not here to make myself famous just for doing that. I'm here to sing, write music, and hopefully help people out. Make people, he wants to bring people together. If anything, he wanted to change our culture, if possible, for the better.
Yeah.
And frankly, I appreciate all of it. So that's all I can say about that.
Yeah.
And he's damn fine in terms of singing ability and talent. I mean, he's just amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even really a country music fan, but man, yeah, his voice and his abilities, man, you only come across a guy like him a handful of times in a generation. Like, I could easily see him being a pillar of music culture for decades to come. Like he's a
Of
Willie
the
Nelson of my
independent music
generation.
scene, yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, he's on par with Willie Nelson as far as talent goes. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see him 50 years from now, if everything goes okay, I guess. But I mean, he's a landmark artist, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, on that note, the next category, Twitch Streamer of the Year. The nominees are Geeks and Gamers, Hello Brutiful, Orgs Boards, Minority Home, and Mara Jade. And the winner for Twitch Streamer of the Year for 2023 is Hello Brutiful.
Yep. Yeah, and it and while it's while we're on Twitch, I suppose it's worth going over.
Yeah.
Boy, Twitch is a mess.
Yes, it is.
We're having to basically whistle past the graveyard on this one because Twitch has really stopped being about gaming, like at all. Like, and even if we talk about, female content creators, whatever, like we talk about Instagram being a cesspool and Twitter sometimes being a bit of a cesspool, and Facebook is past its expiration date also. In terms of social media, but man, Twitch, as far as a streaming site, man, is nothing but voyeurism at this point.
Yeah.
It is nothing but boobs. Like that's it.
However, our award winner for Twitch Streamer of the Year is the complete opposite of
and that's why it's important in this case for us to point out that all of the nominees and everyone that we appreciate on that site are not those people.
Yeah, these are respectable people that deserve your respect because they will earn it, just like they've earned mine. The people you see live in my tab here: Rhetorical Thrill, Jetplane X, Lord Orfeo, and Bearded Chef TV. Also people that I respect.
Yeah, and the thing is that but again, it's worth noting that it's very hard anymore, like at this point on Twitch, to cut through to find good content anymore because it's been taken over by all the e-girls. It's like cover to cover now. It's just absolutely wall to wall. Like if you're a like male gamer or even a female gamer who doesn't show off her body, like you don't get traction on that site anymore. Like it's really killing the whole fucking thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, and then they're up there having convulsions with themselves over there in the dev team of Twitch. Having convulsions about it, thinking, "Oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" Because the whole mission of our entire site is getting lost in the boob fest that this site has become. And they're up there talking, "Oh well, we'll loosen restrictions," and that didn't go so well. That was a freaking disaster. Immediately.
Yeah.
Because you know why it was though? Because first of all, they started, not started, but they decided to ban a couple of, these boob creators, we'll say.
Boob creators.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
They're creating boobs out of nowhere.
No, you know what I mean. These content creators have nothing but boobs. You're tuning in for boobs. I know
what you mean, but I just had to make that joke.
They banned Morkpie and a couple others, and then they realized, oh crap, our site revenue is going to go down, and we're going to get a bunch of hate mail and shit. So they were like, "Oh right, let's unban her and change the rules." And then as soon as they changed the rules, that's when this topless meta bullshit kicked in, which Morkpie's primarily responsible for. And now they're all doing it, and so now it's like nothing but just absolutely cover to cover, just topless meta every single fucking stream that's that's getting any traction on that site is now just topless meta. That's it. That's all there
However,
is.
a reminder to you guys, for those watching after the fact, everyone we highlight, go follow, go subscribe
Yeah.
to. Hello Brutiful included here.
Unless
And-
we're criticizing them, in which case don't.
Well, we're not criticizing anyone that we're highlighting here on the screen. So,
Yeah.
but speaking of showing love and telling said person that Desert Nord and Drew Dead Underground sent you, this young lady, Hello Brutiful, knows exactly who the fuck both of us are. So
Mm-hmm.
go tell her that Drew Dat and Desert Nord sent you. Tell her welcome to the underground.
Mm-hmm.
Because she also does watch this channel too. So hey Brew. How you doing, my friend? So on that note, congratulations, Brew. Twitch streamer of the year. We'll see who gets it next year, and if this is the last time we do this category, then Brew will be the last winner of it. Because who knows with how Twitch has been going this year, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Spiraling a bit.
Yeah. So on that note, next on the list is YouTuber of the Year. And the nominees are Minority Home, Jade Shadow on YouTube, Razor Fist, i.e. Rageaholic,
Mm-hmm.
Nerdrotic, Heel vs. Babyface, Geeks and Gamers, Hello Brutiful, Bear64, Phil TMNT, RK Outpost, and Lethal Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people on YouTube still. But the
Mhm.
winner for YouTuber of the Year, as requested by Desert Nord, because I wanted to give it to Heel versus Babyface, but I see his point, and to a point, I agree. Razor Fist is the YouTube Streamer of the Year, so congratulations to our fellow Arizonian, Razor Fist, Rageaholic, for our YouTuber of the Year.
Yep.
Bro?
Yeah, and then one thing I wanted to mention about that is particularly what he does is he does a Friday night stream, right? Like,
Yeah.
or what he's tried to do is he's tried to always make sure, or as best he can, that it starts after Friday Night Tights, which is a nice gesture by him.
Which is what I've always tried to do before I moved to Arizona and before I work on Fridays. Like, back when I was in Minnesota, I usually didn't work Fridays, so I would try to stream before Friday Night Tights came on, like in the morning, so I could sit there and watch it myself, you know?
Yeah, and he had the wherewithal to understand that audience attention when you have like crossover like that, because boy,
Yeah.
he has crossover. You
Yeah,
can't get people to watch.
with a lot of people from the FNT community,
Yeah.
Minority Homes community,
What he realized was
Brews, and so on and so forth.
you can't get people to watch two streams at once.
Yeah.
So as much
Yeah,
as
no.
you might want to compete with the other one, competing with the other one, if you don't win, you lose completely.
Which is why I try to avoid stream. Yeah, I know what Drunk 3PO said in the past. Don't be afraid to stream when other people that you are close with are streaming or this, that, the other thing, because you can rate each other and that'll bring attention to both your channels. That is true. But also at the same time, viewer retention is also a problem there, too.
Well, not to mention people on Friday night may want to watch both, but they're not going to be
Yeah.
able to. Or I mean, it's really not feasible to watch both if they're playing at the same time. So what
Unless
he's
you're like
been,
me, you have multiple screens in multiple rooms.
yeah, but you're
and
still not going to be able to give full attention to one or the other. You're splitting your attention at that point.
True,
And
but
that's really
it's-
difficult for anyone to do.
But it's still giving the live view and live interaction as best you can at the same time to multiple people, which I can do.
Sure.
But
I'm
not
just talking
everybody
about.
can.
I'm just talking about he knows that the majority of people are going to watch one or the other. They're not going to watch both. And
Like
so,
I, over the years, have regularly watched, like, just an example, Friday Night Tights while playing a game on another screen in my room. I've been playing
sure,
video
yeah,
games while listening to Friday Night Tights the whole time.
sure, and you can definitely play. You can definitely multitask. That wasn't my point. That people can't
Yeah,
multitask, but you can't multi-view, really. I mean, effectively. And if you try to multi-view, just like with sports books with 16 football games going at once, you can pay attention to where the interest is. But with something like Friday Night Tights and Razor streams, the show is always equally interesting, or at least it should be rather monotone in that regard all the time. So you'd say, oh well, if I turn my head at any 1 second, I could miss what somebody said, and it might be the butt of a joke, or it might be something really funny was said, and I missed it. Like it's really difficult to listen to two streams at once because of that, especially when they're
yeah,
semi-comedic like these are. So Razor's taken to trying to make sure his stream starts when theirs ends.
yeah,
So he's done that, and I do always appreciate when somebody has the perceptive ability to understand that.
yeah.
To understand, hey, I'm not trying to draw off their viewers. I'm hoping that they don't draw off mine.
For me, that's always been in the back of my mind, but in the forefront of my mind was, yeah, I don't want to stream while they're streaming because I want to watch their stream myself.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
So,
another thing. And I mean, for all we know, you may watch it too. And I mean, who could blame him, right?
and
And
he's
I would
also
hope
been
that some
on
of the
there too.
I
So,
would hope that some of the G&G crew watch his. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just the way
and I'm
friendships work.
sure that some of them do.
Yeah, it's just the way friendships should work in the
Yeah,
streaming community. Like I know
exactly.
that there's only so many hours in the day, there's only so many days of the week, and people are going to naturally overlap here and there. It
Yeah,
happens,
and sometimes
but
your work schedule doesn't allow for you to watch stuff like you used to, like for me.
it's just a matter of people being perceptive of their audience, being aware of who watches their streams, aware of their community, and saying, okay, I'm just going to imagine I'm one of my regular viewers and imagine what my regular viewers are going through, and saying to myself, okay, what would be most comfortable, most appropriate for them? And the answer is to
Hmm.
not step all over Friday Night Tights.
Yeah.
So that's what he does.
But like I said to our fellow Arizona, congratulations, Razor Fist, Rageaholic, YouTuber of the Year.
Hmm.
So he's our
Yeah,
face
and like
of
we
the
said, there
YouTube
were a
for the
lot of
year.
strong candidates for that one, and I was just,
Yeah,
like, look, I know.
way too many, but it's Razor Fist.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's important to recognize a good streamer when you got one here.
That reminds me, we forgot about one person who should have been nominated, and that's it's a Gundam.
Sure, no, yeah, but see, I don't consider his best work to be his streams. I consider his best work to be
Well,
his videos.
this was the category for YouTuber, not YouTube streamer. So
Oh,
that's
okay, well,
for both people, the people that just do recorded stuff or streams.
sure, and in that case, yes, obviously Gundam's been really nailing it this year,
And Melanie
especially,
Mac, too.
yeah, this past year.
But speaking of nailing things, the music video of the year. The nominees are John Rich, I'm Offended. Jason Aldean, Try That in a Small Town. And yes, all of these I've done reactions to on this very channel. Please go check them out. Tom McDonald, Dirty Money. Tom McDonald, Stronger Version. And yes, there's a theme here. Pretty much anything Tom McDonald has released this year is actually nominated, honestly. Oliver Anthony's Richmond North of Richmond. Oliver Anthony's, what was the name of it? I Want to Go Home, right?
Yeah, that was one of
Yeah,
his other big ones. Yep.
that one. And the winner for independent or just music video of the year, fuck the independent thing, because our music industry is outside the labels anyway, is once again Oliver Anthony, Richmond, North of Richmond, is
Mhm.
our music video of the year. So let's hear a little more.
Yeah, and if you see
Away.
you check out the views on the original Radio West Virginia video posting, it's pretty off the
Yeah.
chart.
Yeah, it shows 109 million views.
Hmm.
Damn.
From scratch, from
Yeah.
nothing.
And this is, well, there we go. The subscriber count, 481,000 subscribers to it.
Drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. For people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an whole soul. With Richmond, North of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men, 'cause the rich men.
Yep.
Hmm.
Like I said, music video and song of 2023.
Hmm.
Anything you want to add?
No, yeah, it was just fresh reminder of how much impact he had, or is having even now.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like I don't think. I mean, even if I were to lump in all of the mainstream shit, I still would say that his song and video really impacted more than just about anything. More than any other artist, I think, of the entire year, barring none. Like people want to talk about, SZA and Doja and all these other rappers and hip hop artists and Taylor Swift. Oh my God, Taylor Swift. But I mean, none of that shit means
Fuck
anything
Taylor
compared to what.
Swift and the horse that she rode in on. That's named Travis Kelce.
No, yeah, you know what I'm saying though. Like all of that shit is what I guess the normies would all rave about, but I don't give a shit. Oliver deserves the honor of saying his song and album, and well, album. There was no album; it was just songs. His song and video and his persona has been the most impactful artist and possibly that song, I guess, of the year, barring none, really.
Yeah.
I mean, this type of music and this type of message really means something, whereas all that other shit really doesn't. It doesn't end up meaning anything.
Yeah.
So,
once again, congratulations, Oliver Anthony, and thank you for releasing Richmond, North of Richmond. It appealed to, as you see, hundreds of millions of people,
yeah.
and it's gotten over, I think it says 3 million likes there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's led a lot of.
And yes, I know what some people are going to say, but Drew, why can't we see the dislike ratio? That's because I don't have shit on my computer that allows us to see it, and I'm not.
Yeah,
gonna
but
waste
it's
my
still.
fucking time.
But still, the dislike on his video, his music song there, is still 1,000 to 1 at least. I mean, or at worst,
Yeah,
it's 1,000 to 1 likes to
Yeah.
dislikes. So I mean, what do you do? But
And
the point I was going to make though
and
is that
secondly, just one quick point. If you do dislike this, then you're part of the deep state, and go fuck yourself.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
all I
no,
got.
I mean, I really would say if you don't like him as a person, then you can go fuck yourself, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
But because I mean, the
I
man
completely
is
agree.
unless you're a bigot, there's nothing to hate about him. He's a real dude.
Yeah,
He's
unless
real.
you hate gingers, which
No,
is
I mean,
Hollywood.
I mean, I'm not saying he's perfect. He knows he isn't. He says he isn't. We all know that. Once again, nobody's perfect. So nitpicking perfection is ridiculous for anyone. So while we're, adhering to that principle, he deserves the respect that he wasn't, that he didn't have, that he, you know, he was in a dark place. That guy was in a dark, dark, dark place
As a lot of people were
the
in
last couple of
2023.
years. And, you know, to see him go from that to, you know, singing at the Opry to a crowd of throwing fans is really nice to see. I just love it. You know, it's
I
good.
was in a dark place leading up to leaving Minnesota, but I got through it, and here I am, and I'm perfectly content and happy and doing just fine where I am right now. So,
Yeah.
would
And so,
I
I
like
mean,
to have to do things like this? You're goddamn right I would, but it is
so
what it is.
yeah, so my point is that, like, for what it's worth, and it's worth a lot actually.
Yeah.
He has been the most impactful artist of the year. And that song and video right there in particular was the first and biggest. And basically, if you're talking about 2023, that was a song heard around the world. So, I mean,
Yeah, and we'll get back into the music in just a minute with our Artist of the Year. But first, our Movie of the Year category. I only got 2 nominees because I only saw 2 movies that came out this year when I bought them on Blu-ray. And those nominees are the Mario Brothers movie and Top Gun Maverick. Your thoughts on those 2 movies before I reveal what movie we are giving the Movie of the Year award to?
yeah, the Super Mario movie is the most successful video game movie of all time.
Yeah.
For starters. And whether or not people like it or not, some people didn't like, oh, the voices are different, you know, or whatever. They expected, you know, they expected the classic Mario voice or whatever. And that's their nitpick. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, sure, there is that, I guess. But all in all, dude, the movie pays respect to fans of the series. It doesn't
And
preach.
all of the Mario games, like Mario Kart, Smash Brothers.
It's not awkward. It's not wrong. It's not
it's not woke. It's not cringy as fuck.
Yeah, it's not cringy. It's funny. It's interesting. It follows the game series. If you're a fan, you're gonna know what all of it's about. Like, if you're this is like red meat that's actually good for you. You know what I mean? That's what that movie was for video game fans.
Yeah.
It was good for you red meat is what it was.
Yeah.
And so naturally it did really well.
My favorite moment in it was when Luigi was falling towards the lava, and at the last second his brother Mario saved him. Because I saw you and I in that situation.
Yeah.
Because when I was in Minnesota, I was Luigi falling towards the lava, and you were Mario grabbing me by the hand and pulling me back up.
Yeah. So the other movie that you mentioned, Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, that one was basically Tom Cruise once again showing that he is an action movie star.
Yeah, that he's
and
the
that he
last
does know
great
how
action
to,
movie star.
And that he does know actually how to make movies. And that also revived a bit of understanding that while the major media and pop culture like to throw Tom under the bus and say he's crazy or whatever, as it turns out,
crazy or not, he knows how to put butts in the seats of movie theaters.
For every ounce of crazy they like to call him, he's actually pretty brilliant, and he's actually very interested in making quality entertainment.
Yeah,
and that movie showed
respect
that.
him for it. Yeah.
As far as the movie itself goes, it was the first half of the year's best movie, bar none. It was the best movie of the first half of the year. And the only ones to challenge it were the Mario movie, and then a handful of others, like Oppenheimer was good, very successful. There were some knocks on it, which is why you didn't mention it already. You know, with how it's like very scientifically dense and not easy to access, and it's a biopic and all this other stuff.
I didn't mention it because I haven't seen it.
No, I know you haven't seen it, but again, millions have. So I mean, it's worth. We're talking about movies of the year here, and we're not excluding mainstream stuff. So, so again, worth mentioning.
Well, this is arguably the only mainstream category we have at this point. So.
Yeah, and then there was obviously the Barbie movie, which was ironically backfired. Ironically, a very woke movie, but it backfired completely because it became semi-popular in a second wind because of the back plot being that Ken is the actual only hero of the movie. But anyway, so that's a funny thing that happened with that film too.
Yeah.
But then the other that was worth mentioning more recently was Napoleon that came out. Now, the problem with that one was that it was dense, and they basically jammed in way too much history into too short a time. They didn't focus on the right things. You kind of get lost in a blur of like, what the hell did I just witness? What part of his life was this? I don't even know. And then the aspect of him and Josephine isn't really focused on too much, even though that's really one of the most interesting things about his entire life, pretty much. And so, while that was slated to be a December landmark film, it ended up kind of falling a bit flat. And I guess that's partly because of casting. I mean, I was initially going into that movie thinking, okay, well, it's good that Joaquin's going to be the guy because he's a good actor. Obviously, he's already proven that over and over and over.
Yeah.
But is he the right guy for that role is the question, because you could have easily had like someone who wasn't like quote unquote on a roll lately. You could have had somebody that was more like up and coming actor who was more interested in actually diving into the Napoleon role.
Yeah.
Which I guess Joaquin tried to do, but I personally think it's like there's a lot about Napoleon. You honestly could write book after book after book after book. You could have a whole series of books about Napoleon. And there are hundreds and thousands of books that have been written about the man. And the history of his life really, really is one of the most important stories in modern history. Or I guess you could say in the last 500 years. Like, his life story is one of the most important stories in the last 500 years. Politically speaking and historically speaking.
Obviously.
So it's definitely film worthy. It's definitely like an interesting thing. He's an interesting man to talk about and make movies about. But the way they went about it though was very different than what you would have expected to see or wanted to see.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as successful as it could have been.
But you know what is worthy of the Movie of the Year award, though?
Yeah.
The Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just because of broad appeal, really.
Yeah.
I mean, and the fact that finally you can say, without any debate or doubt, that a video game movie has been truly successful.
Yeah.
Broadly.
To the point where, yeah, it's only a matter of time before Nintendo and whomever they worked with announce a sequel to this.
Yeah.
Because you know it's going to happen. Disney saw the money and they want more of it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, it really, we'd seen a little bit of that, a little bit of it previously. Strict video game movie was something that a lot of people didn't think would ever be successful because there have been so many bad ones.
Yeah.
I mean, going all the way back to Dragon Ball Evolution.
Going back to that
like the worst.
live-action Super Mario Brothers movie from when we were kids.
Yeah, that was another bad one. And, I mean, there was kind of like mediocre success with Assassin's Creed, and then mediocre success with Pokemon.
I would still say the
recently.
Assassin's Creed movie wasn't any good, but that's
No, I know.
opinion.
People would say it's trash, but it was middle of the road in terms of success.
Yeah.
It wasn't a complete flop. It wasn't like garbage.
And then
but it wasn't that great either.
Got one that wasn't any good either. Right?
Yeah, exactly. World of Warcraft got one that people panned and didn't really like, and that was almost a bomb technically. But yeah, it's been really. And then Sonic came along, and it started to show that you could make a video game film and have it work. They almost fucked it up though. The first one they almost had a disaster with. Thank God they changed the design of Sonic, because it would have been an absolute disaster. It would have been laughably bad if they didn't. Would've. And then, thankfully, that was so successful it got a sequel. So that's nice, and the sequel was very successful also. But nothing really touches the success of the Super Mario movie this year. Nothing in the video game movie category touches it. Nothing's even close. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're talking billion-dollar movies. So, it really proved that you can make a truly successful video game movie. So now we know that for sure, that it can work. It can be a success. So, like, say if in the future, near future, they do the smart thing and say, okay, let's make an Elder Scrolls movie, right?
God help us.
You could really truly have a massive success on your hands if you do it correctly.
But they're not going to look no further than Starfield with the pronoun shit.
No, I know that, but you get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, so an Elder Scrolls movie is only going to flop because of the PC left-wing bullshit they're going to shovel into it.
No, again, there's always that danger, and that's true in every film that's ever made, basically.
But that's what I'm expecting because of what I've been seeing from Xbox and Bethesda lately.
All they really have to do,
expecting.
all they really have to
something
do
like that.
is they just have to say, look, we are going to make this with faith to the fans, and that's it. Our goal here is faith to the fans.
Yeah.
All right? That's all they got to do. Nothing else. Don't say, oh, well, we're going to meet quotas and we're going to try and change the minds of the audience. No. None of that bullshit. Make a movie, Elder Scrolls movie, that is faithful to the fans. That's all you got to do. And you will make $1 billion, $2 billion, $5 billion. I don't even know how much it would make. But it's still one of the most beloved video game series of all time.
I could say
and one of the most successful.
I could say the same thing for Mass Effect.
Sure, Mass Effect's another one, but it's already movie-like. So, I mean, if you make that into a movie, then, I mean, they already wokeified the game itself. So,
well,
which
not with the
with some small exceptions, you can't say that about
today.
Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls has not been ruined yet.
I didn't see any pronouns in any of the Mass Effect games, and that
yeah, but Andromeda, bro, Andromeda.
That's what I'm talking about. I didn't see any pronouns in that.
Okay, yeah, there wasn't any pronouns, but it's also because it came out before this became super popular.
Yeah.
So, but they still kind of ruined the series a bit with Andromeda. It really took the whole thing and derailed it.
Yeah, that's true.
But in any case,
but speaking of things that are the complete opposite of woke, and I said that for a specific reason. It's time to go through the nominees for Artist of the Year, our last and top category.
Yep.
Our nominees for Music Artist of the Year, and I've been debating just turning this into just an Artist of the Year, because content creators are artists too, because there's art channels out there. But that's for the future, though. So the Music Artist of the Year, or the nominees are John Rich, Oliver Anthony, Jason Aldean, Tom McDonald, Chris Webby, Samson. Am I forgetting anyone?
Well, none that.
And yes,
none that we didn't already mention in our discussion about it.
And I know some people will say, "Why are you putting this a cover artist with these independent ones that do their own thing?" Oh, fuck you! It's my channel. And Dan Vasc.
Well, Dan's only a cover artist because Dan is not a songwriter.
Yeah, that's true. He's a singer, period. But on that note, he's still an artist. But on that note, the winner of Artist of the Year, where the hell did the picture go? But you see the name, it is Tom McDonald. So let's hear a little bit from him.
They're angry that they'll never shut me up. I'm making more noise. Turn me.
Okay, I don't know why that's fucking up. Let me refresh the page. Let's get through the ad first. That's better.
Me up, I'm making more noise. Turn me up. They're angry that they'll never shut me up. I'm making more noise. Turn me up or turn me down. It's your choice. Black lives only matter when they got a corpse to exploit. Because the media made millions on protests for George.
I agree with what he said first there. You can turn me up or turn me down. It's your choice. You can watch me on YouTube or not. It's your choice, folks. Nord?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and one thing I will say about Tom,
Yeah.
is that he's more prolific than most.
Yeah.
In regards to how much music he makes in a given year. I mean, it's like, what is he on his 4th album?
Let me count. Hold up.
Of the year, I mean.
Well, I don't know about that, but I can count how many albums from him I have right here.
I know he said like at least 6 total.
It's got to be like 12 albums because there's like 3 or 4 that I don't have from his site.
Yeah.
But I have like 10 of them
Mm-hmm.
at this point. But
I could have sworn he at least had 3 albums this year, if not 4.
There was, I don't know if they came out this year, but it might have been in 2022, I believe, because I had to wait to get them till I moved to Arizona and I had money. But Renegade and Revolution came out. I believe that was
if you have copies of his albums, they all have years on them, so you don't have to wonder. But in any case,
because I do have those. So here's Renegade.
I mean, it could just be my perception because of how many singles you put out.
It actually doesn't say what year on it anywhere. So,
Interesting.
So I believe it was 2022, and The Brave 2 came out this year that he did in collaboration with Adam Calhoun and a bunch of other artists.
Yeah.
At that point. But yeah, Artist of the Year, Tom MacDonald, for obvious reasons. Any other thoughts about Tom MacDonald, Hangover Gang, and anything of that before we close things out with talking about something that needs to be talked about? Because, like I said, this is also de facto us catching up on Breaking Rock's topics, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't have anything else to say about, Tom, except for he was definitely one of the most prolific, or at least it seemed that way, one of the most prolific music artists in the sort of the sphere this year, for sure.
Absolutely. So on that note, congratulations, Tom MacDonald, Nova Rockefeller, and the whole MacDonald family for Tom MacDonald, our Artist of the Year. But there's something else going on that needs discussion. A lot of people have been talking about it. Now it's our turn too. And I think you know what's been going on in the NFL lately, like last weekend. An incident that leads to even more voices saying the NFL is rigged. I'm talking about Brad Allen, I believe is the ref's name, right?
Yeah.
Not only calling tripping on the Cowboys when it was Hutchinson of the Lions who tried to do it and failed, which shouldn't have been a flag then because he didn't actually trip anyone. But on top of it, at the end of the game, when the Lions were going for 2 points, I guess did but didn't call 70 as eligible. Because there's been so much evidence that has come out that leads credence to he told the Cowboys everything right, and then after the play, like nearly a minute after the play, threw a flag for ineligible receiver, claiming number 70, not number 68, was eligible, and it was illegal touching. Guys, if that were true, if he told the Cowboys number 70, then why did the Cowboys and not the Lions, when he said the number out loud in the stadium, supposedly, did nobody react going, no, that was the wrong number, asshole? Nobody reacted. Everything was normal until after the flag was thrown.
Yep.
I have and all of them, none of them center around the Lions, none of them center around the Cowboys. All of them are aimed directly right between the eyes of that referee. My questions.
Yeah, I mean it's another in a long string.
And just when we thought it was all over tonight, the Steelers play the Ravens, and that same referee and his team are refereeing tonight's game, in which the Steelers need to win to have a shot at making the playoffs. I'm ready to watch the world burn and drink beer tonight. How about you?
Well, I guess it depends on how much I give a shit about the NFL at this point.
The only reason
Which
I'm
is
watching
mediocre.
Because, first of all, in the back of my mind in fantasy, I'm facing your girlfriend for our Super Bowl.
Yes, I'm aware.
And she's a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
So in the back of my mind, it's like, I can't wait to hear her talk about this after these referees fuck the Steelers tonight.
Well, let's not assume.
Well,
that
I assume
they-
that because he already – because first of all, this guy's history, he got thrown out of NCAA for shit like this.
Yeah, no, I get it. He's not good at ref, not a good ref. But
yeah, he got shot directly out of a cannon by NCAA, and where did he land? The NFL. Oh,
but
joy.
thankfully,
Yeah.
there is not just one ref in games.
Yeah,
There
but
is
he's the
6
white
or
hat
more.
one. He's the lead referee, though.
No, I get that, and that's why his decision making became so damn important. But in this case, the controversies happen when they get a chance to happen. So if nothing, like we always say, remember what we always say in controversial plays where it comes down to one call? Normally you say, okay, bad call. Great. Bad call. Fuck the game over. Change the result maybe. But what teams have to remember is if you are not in a close game, if you are not essentially in some way sucking at what you're supposed to be doing the rest of the time, then you don't have this problem.
Well, the potential of this problem does arise when you think about the Ravens have nothing to play for. They've already locked up the first seed. They're going to rest their starters across the board.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it always goes.
Steelers shouldn't be because they are still trying to fight to get into the playoffs here.
So you'd think this would be a pretty easy game for them because they're facing the fucking backups of the Ravens.
Potentially. But on paper, it could also be a close game because of it, too. Because the Steelers, let's face it, haven't been one of the better teams all year either.
No, that's what I was going to say. The Steelers have royally sucked repeatedly.
So in theory, this could be a close game because of how bad the Steelers have played all year. And they'll be facing the backups of the Ravens, which would make it a close game. In theory, it could also be a blowout too. That's also very probable because
the way I
it's the
see
backups for the Ravens too.
The way I see it, if the Steelers cannot or could not all year play well enough to be, solidified into the playoffs, and then furthermore, they get to this crucial game in the last week of the season, and they, despite facing backups, still cannot do enough to make sure that a bad call, which is likely at this point, I guess, doesn't screw them out of their chance to win, then that's like failure number 5 at that point, right? They failed to play well all season. They failed to, take advantage of a backup team. They're failing to avoid having the game be so close that a call can make it change, dramatically one way or the other. I mean, and then, of course, just playing bad in the game itself. I mean, that's like 5 different failures all at once. And yet they're going to expect me to believe that they deserve to win and make the playoffs. At that point, no, I don't think they would at that point. I don't feel sorry for them in a lot of ways, aside from specifically whatever calls they get screwed on, which
Yeah.
again, I would say is a common occurrence. If you're being very careful to watch games, you're going to see this in almost every single game across
Yeah.
the NFL. You're going to find, oh, okay, what was that? What the hell was that? It was either a bad no call or a call that shouldn't have been made or a call that's like, what is he? What even did I just witness? You know,
Yeah,
like,
that's just,
like with
that's what
refs
everybody
picking the
was
ball
saying
up
at
and
the
then
end of
moving
that
the
game
line.
between the Cowboys and Lions. Yeah,
Yeah, like refs picking the ball up on the line of scrimmage and then moving it backward so
And
that it's
that-
not a first
and-
down.
and that was against our Cardinals, by the way.
Yeah, I know. And it's things like that where I just go, I don't even know what
And
the refs are
then-
even doing here.
Then to add to the fuck uppery of referees, that game against the Texans, holy fuck.
Yeah.
How do you call a fumble in which the returner didn't even touch the fucking ball? Seriously.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You're just rewriting the rule book on game day? Okay.
No, yeah, and it's again, it comes down to training, it comes down to know-how. It also comes down to the booth being able to like, look, like that's not what happened. Sorry, refs. I know you guys down there like to, have your way with things, but that's not what happened.
Mhm.
I mean, booth review is important. Hell, you should be able to have like outside observer review. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
But like I said with the Detroit Lions Cowboys thing, when you watch the videos, something seems off with people's reactions to what the ref claims that he did. Because if he did that, why is nobody reacting to? Then why did the play happen the way it did? Then if this guy was eligible,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nobody
confuses
reacted
everything.
to anything.
It confuses everything. Like,
Yeah,
you
which
don't
then
even
said-
know.
Which then says to me, on the field, everything was done correctly on the field. After the play is when all of the shenanigans took place. That's the only
Mhm.
logical conclusion based on the reaction of the Lions and the Cowboys and the fans and everybody at the game.
Mm-hmm.
Which then means the referee decided on his own, I'm going to make myself famous. Watch this. And in turn made himself the most hated person in America.
Well, I don't know as if I would say that, but
Well,
definitely the talk of the sports world for sure.
Okay, fine. The most infamous person in football. In
Yeah,
modern
or
day.
sports.
How about that? Does
Yeah,
that work
definitely
better?
agree with that. Yeah. Well, I mean, that is what it is at that point. I mean, because it'll be people who watch the game, people who watch football, which is not everybody, and it'll be people
And
who were.
I will leave it at this: a caution for that referee and his crew. If you get the offer by Roger Goodell, by the way, who is the Hitler of sports managers, just saying.
Yeah.
If you get the offer to do a game in Detroit, it's in your best interest and your personal safety to turn it down. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Same thing goes if you do what I think you're going to do today and screw the Steelers, your best interest will be to never go to fucking Pittsburgh. Just saying.
yeah. Although I can't imagine the Steelers, if they do make the playoffs, I really just don't see what their path is to the Super Bowl.
Which reminds me, I work with a number of Cowboys fans, and also they're pissed at the referee too. So
Yeah,
you've also
no, I
made
get it.
enemies
Bad-
of the Cowboys as well, dude. So
Bad
don't go to
reffing
Dallas
is-
either. Just saying.
Bad reffing is not popular with anyone. Like nobody
Yeah.
likes bad reffing.
Yeah, especially Brad Allen, because when you see his name as the ref, usually well, from now on, any fan bases, either side is going to go, fuck, we're going to get fucked, aren't we?
Well, bad calls can go either way.
Yeah. But,
So I mean, it might be
but-
you getting fucked, or it might be
but-
them getting fucked.
but like I said, if the Ravens get fucked over, they have nothing to lose and nothing to gain from this game anyway. So whatever. But it's the principle of fucking a team over that I'm against, even though I fucking hate the Ravens myself. which I know is a contradiction because I like John Harbaugh, who's their head coach. So, but that's kind
Yeah.
of the way it was. I've not liked the Packers for a long time, but Aaron Rodgers has been my favorite quarterback for a while. Who was their quarterback? So
It's
it
what
was
we
a
always
catch-22
say.
there.
It's what we always say. Good man in a bad town. It happens.
Yeah, and a good man in another bad town. Aaron Rodgers is now with the Jets.
Yeah.
So either way, I will leave it at that. Anything else you want to add so we can get out of it before we get out of here, or should we just wrap this up now?
We could wrap it up now. I mean, the only thing I
Okay,
would say
so-
other than that is just the NFL is perennially a
Rigged.
shit show.
It's rigged. Just say it.
Well, I mean, bad calling is the choice of a ref. I mean, rigged is a weird word because, like,
It's
that assumes there's far more than one man involved. Like, that assumes that, like, you have stupid reffing is not on purpose. Unless you say, oh, well, he's an idiot on purpose, then that means he's not an idiot. Because, see, nobody does stupidity on purpose unless that they're not an idiot.
Mark my words, one day there's going to be an investigation into the NFL, and it's going to get revealed that the NFL has been rigged for a long time. Watch.
Well, you could say undue influence, and you can say poor reffing training and whatever. You can say a lot of things, but
And
say, oh, well, no, they've just literally been fixing games. And in which case, yeah, the fucking Congress would get involved at that point.
So on that note, I will leave you guys with a question. But before we do, once again, congratulations to everyone that we gave awards to. Next year, we'll see what next year winds up looking like. But I do want to do this again next year with probably a couple new categories because I always add like one or two new ones every year. But we'll see what happens. Anything you want to add before I pose a question that we're not going to answer? We're going to let everyone else answer in the comment section.
No, you can go ahead and ask it, whatever.
Here is my question to you, our lovely viewers, as Jules would say. To the underdogs here in the underground, what is more rigged? The NFL or our presidential elections? I'll let you guys answer that in the chat. We'll see you guys in the next one. And yes, I do have an answer on which one I think is more rigged, but I'll tell you guys that off stream. See you guys in the next one.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Yeah.
Be well. Watch the game
Yeah.
tonight and watch the world burn with me.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys. Well, actually, next Saturday on the main channel for the Underground Gaming. For the Drew Dat Game Awards next Saturday.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys on Saturday. Good night, everybody.
You guys have a good one.
Wrong button. I was trying to share the screen again. Fuck me. And I have nothing to share. Bye, guys.
Mhm.